following program is classified G. It's suitable for all ages.
Tonight, can Sri Lanka's advertising industry survive the new normal? Marketing and advertising sectors play a vital role in bringing the consumer new breakthrough products. However, the pandemic has greatly affected all areas of the industry in both positive and negative ways. Does the marketing and the advertising sector have a game plan to bounce back, or will the country see major loss in a market flourishing with potential? Good evening, I'm Suzanne Shanali. Tonight, our Derana and the Morning Investigates. Reviving Sri Lanka's business sector is a topic that keeps popping up every time we discuss returning to normalcy, and many consider it a priority as the country's ailing economy is an issue that has been snowballing since the start of the pandemic. In this backdrop, businesses need to do their best to remain profitable, which is the chief value addition provided by the marketing and advertising industry, and especially its digital offshoots. This is the sector that promotes, communicates and educates the consumers on business activities and makes sure that the correct message is properly delivered to potential clients and customers. Due to this industry's vital role in supporting the business sector, today's Investigates focus on the state of the marketing and advertising industry amidst the ongoing pandemic. Like all other industries, marketing and advertising were affected by the pandemic, but industry experts noted that going digital helped them bear the brunt of its effects while encouraging other industries to follow suit. However, they stressed despite the advantage of being able to continue operations online, the pandemic's impact on this industry cannot be ignored. Speaking about the current situation, Loop's Chief Executive Officer Wassam Ismail said that the pandemic has changed not only the industry but also its clients.
So the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted the industry to quite an extent. Of course, when it came to the marketers here in Sri Lanka, there was great optimism when COVID first struck, and that's also because I think people did not realize that this was something that was going to stay on for quite a long time. But then when people did start realizing it, we did see a significant budget cuts from a lot of clients. And that's also because there's been a lot of disruption when it comes to their businesses, because the economic conditions have not been so great, and we have seen a decline in consumer spending power. So as there's a decline in consumer spending power, most businesses start taking a hit, and the first thing that they do is they start cutting their marketing budgets. Many clients have looked at how to continue their operations with minimum spend. So one of the easiest things they would do is basically try to see how they could cut down how much they need to pay out to vendors. So one of their solutions is the fact that first they would look at the bare minimum necessity in terms of what they actually need to do when it comes to their marketing communications. And they would also look at internal resources in terms of maybe hiring one or two resources or trying to do things internally without having to outsource everything. But the only disadvantage to clients there is the fact that they would not get the best expertise that is available there out there in the market, and by doing so, agencies also get affected as a result.
One of the positive results of the pandemic, according to Ismail, is that a lot of brands are starting to realize the importance of digital media. Not that this did not mean that they did not realize or use it before. He pointed out how they grasped its importance in this day and age to really be ahead of the game. Adding that three things have changed as far as consumer behavior is concerned, he explained.
One is that a lot of consumers are now looking to see how they can buy products and services online. The other thing is the consumers want to see, they want easy access to a lot of information. So they don't want to go out there and call people and find out things. They want to go online and they want to find all the information. And the other thing is that we've seen consumers spending a lot more time online, consuming content, uploading content. Like for example, with the first lockdown itself in Sri Lanka, we saw a huge boom when it comes to TikTok users, and believe it or not, there are so many content creators here in Sri Lanka.
When queried as to what steps were taken to continue operations during the pandemic, he explained that the industry had to take several steps, including limiting traveling.
One thing is we've had to look at doing business in a way that it did not involve traveling. It did not involve a lot of filming, because when it comes to a lot of video production and filming, whether it is commercials or content, there's a lot of outdoor activity that is involved. And also when it comes to brand communications, we've looked at how to focus on doing things more digitally online versus doing things offline when it comes to doing events and managing events. Also, the other thing is how we work internally matters a lot. We had to implement processes for our staff to be able to work seamlessly by communicating with each other online, and implement processes where there would be minimum disruption.
Antira Solutions Chief Operating Officer Naveen Marasinghe expressed similar sentiments regarding the way of the pandemic affected the industry.
Well, it was impacted in multiple ways, to be honest, especially if you take the industry we are in, digital marketing. We noticed certain industries, given how they were impacted, especially the hospitality industry and the airline industry, had a major sort of impact in terms of their activities. So that directly had an impact for us also. We do have our portfolios in those industries. But also on the other hand, we've seen that there's a tremendous kind of interest by the other industries, like especially the FMCG industry, the beauty care, like different other aspects where they have FMCG kind of approach to really digitize the business. So there was a great interest in terms of building their digital presence.
Marasinghe also noted how marketing budgets were cut due to the pandemic, which has directly affected how much businesses are willing to spend on advertising. He further explained that some businesses are still a bit cautious on how they spend on their marketing, including digital marketing, even though others have focused on accelerating their digital transformation.
Instead of having a huge advertising spend, they were now going to invest on their online platforms, like building a website, moving on to e-commerce, looking at online as a sales channel. So we've seen there's a keen interest in digitizing. We've seen there's a bit of interest in on developing their websites, moving on to e-commerce and selling online. But it purely depends on the industry as well. I think if you take certain industries like hospitality industries, they're trying to improve and create the visibility online and move things on. But certain industries, like I said, FMCG, e-commerce, they are quite interested in making sure that they are fully digitized, let's say before another lockdown comes into place.
We also spoke to Storybook Private Limited CEO Subhash Pinnapola, who said that the industry faced a disaster due to the pandemic, as it compelled clients to refrain from spending as they used to. According to him, holding on to staff in a content where expenses were higher than income was another major challenge the industry faced. Explaining the changes that took place on part of clients, he stated,
Clients have controlled their budget, or they are not spending at all. I think it's normal, because all the clients are thinking of the ROI, return on investment, especially a period like this. So naturally, we get affected badly on top of the pandemic. Mainly, we do two things in our industry. One, we conceptual clients' business. Two, we execute them. That's where the problem arrives. Because to do that, we need to go out there and work with people. So we have lots of limitations when it's come to that.
On the other hand, Loop's Managing Director and Digital Media Association of Sri Lanka founding member Shehan Selvanayagam shared how the pandemic situation helped the industry, with more clients opting for digital marketing over traditional non-digital marketing methods.
So COVID-19 has really been a boon for the industry overall, as a lot of companies have really understood the importance of digital media, and a lot of people have actually joined the industry as professionals, and there's been a growth of people looking for jobs in this field. One good thing about the behavior change, I think before the pandemic, a lot of marketing departments did not understand how digital worked. They looked at generally the vanity metrics, and now a lot of customers have really uplifted themselves and actually understood digital. And we have seen like digital departments and digital companies and actually really understand digital, where the clients are becoming much more sophisticated on that side.
Despite the pandemic raging on, life has to continue as it always did, and so does the advertising and marketing sector. How will it get back to being one of the most influential sectors within the country amidst all these odds? We investigate after the break. Welcome back everyone to Investigates. Let's now look into the industrial revival currently taking place within the marketing and advertising sectors amidst the raging pandemic. Here's the rest of our investigation. How the industry is going to get back on its feet is the million-dollar question those in the industry are attempting to answer. According to those who spoke with us, the revival of the overall business sector or the country's economy is what would help the revival of this industry.
So I think with things getting back into place, I think the biggest positive thing we can take out of that is that the economic outcome will be positive. There'll be more activities in terms of, the businesses getting on their feet. That will definitely have an impact on organizations like us, where we provide marketing services, especially digital marketing services. So when the other industries pick themselves up, and when they can start generating more revenue and getting back on their feet, that's definitely going to have an impact on us who provide marketing services to.
In response to the question regarding what factors would hinder the industry revival, he added,
and in terms of limitations and hardships, I think we had to, endure sort of the general limitations everyone had to go through. We had to relook at our operational structures. Since we are from the digital marketing industry, 90% of our work is in front of computers and laptops. So we didn't really have a major impact other than us having to work from home. So we did have operational improvements we need to do in terms of how the staff interact on a day-to-day basis and how we plan our work. But I think for the last 1.5 years, we've been on and off on that nature with the lockdowns, but we managed to continue our operations without any hindrance. I think the main kind of limitation we had to face was obviously on the in terms of the infrastructure when it comes to, let's say, bandwidth and the internet connectivity for certain individuals in different areas.
However, what the revival of the industry means to Selvanayagam has more to do with the increased use of digital advertising by businesses. He claimed that with the pandemic, a lot of businesses can be seen understanding the concept of new normal, and that as companies get back into their groove of things, they will see that digital media has a fairly strong role in companies' marketing and budgets, and therefore has to become a major tool.
One of the limitations that a lot of people and companies and all other faced during the lockdown period was that a lot of people feel that the perception that digital marketing means that you sit behind a computer and create content. As much as digital media is a medium, there has been a lot of difficulty in a lot of companies to create content.
Sri Lanka is slowly accepting the fact that the country will have to live with the pandemic for the foreseeable future, and that adapting to the new normal is a more sensible move. However, to continue operations, many pandemic-affected sectors seek support from the government and the relevant authorities while trying to embrace new business methods. We also questioned industry experts on what could help the revival of the advertising and marketing industry, and they opined that the betterment of the country's situation, both in terms of public health and the economy, will help the industry. Expressing his opinion, Pinnapola said that the main support the industry should receive in the uninterrupted continuation of the vaccination process in order for the government to be able to bring the situation under control. After that, everything will fall into place beautifully, he expressed confidently. Speaking of the same, Ismail said,
I don't want to get into what the government should do in terms of support at this point, but what I can say is that if it's something that they need to focus on, which would help our industry a lot, is trying to see and figure out ways on how to revive the economy, because at the end of the day, if the economy is bad, the consumer spending power is bad, and when the consumer spending power is bad, it affects businesses overall. They need to figure out ways on how they could, for example, revive tourism and hospitality, the events and entertainment industry. Even the weddings industry is a huge market where there's not a lot of business right now. And when people are affected in those industries, there's a lot of job losses that happen, and the spending power reduces, which automatically affects other businesses. And also we need to figure out how we can stabilize the dollar and also flow in a lot more revenue, overseas revenue into the country. So if we can figure these things out, automatically our industry would also get a huge boost.
However, Selvanayagam was of the opinion that government has already extended satisfactory support to the industry.
The government actually has shown a lot of interest in trying to help the digital marketing industry, and there's been a lot of support in terms of trying to help actually educate companies both through government and semi-government organizations. That has been actually something, and we see the government playing a bigger role in regulating and helping to help support the growth of the industry.
Yes, the government of Sri Lanka has recognized the initiatives of Marcom collectives and given a double deduction in taxation for the corporate sector. I think the private sector companies and the corporate sector, this is great news for them. People who want to use marketing communications and to drive the industries who see opportunity. This is great news because we believe as Marcom collectives, it is important for us to remain positive. The entire nation should remain positive while we face this pandemic.
Speaking of the long-term changes the pandemic has triggered, Marasinghe said that the pandemic created an environment where people and companies came to understand and advantages of digital media, and that it will play a massive role in the future.
Because of the travel restrictions, because of the fact that people are limited to interact, there was a need to find ways to operate businesses, reach consumers in a non-physical way. And in that way, digital marketing and digital services play a key role. I think this became a very, very important kind of area.
As those who spoke with us noted, while the pandemic has resulted in both negative and positive changes in the industry, especially concerning revenue and content generation, it has not affected the digital aspect of their operation that were already in place before the pandemic. However, as businesses, the damage that the negative impact caused outweigh the opportunities and new possibilities. Despite all, the ability to resume operations will not be sufficient to prosper again. Due to the diverse nature of the clientele the industry caters to, the intermediary role it plays between businesses and consumers, it is not only the revival of the overall business sector or national economy that will ensure this industry's revival and survival, but also the return to consumers to the marketplace. Thank you for taking the time to join us on Investigates. We'll return next week with another matter that affects you and me. Till then, see you soon.